Welcome to the Deep Digger Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host, right over there.
What's up? It's Dee. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and drop some comments below. Let us know your thoughts.
Today we are talking Kansas football, getting a huge deal. Go and hit us with those details.
Yes, so Kansas just received the largest gift in college athletics history, the largest single gift in college athletics history, receiving $300 million from an alumni named David Booth.
So here's the ESPN article about the $300 million gift, saying they're trying to get upgrades. So $75 million of this gift going towards launching the transformation of David Booth Memorial Stadium.
$300 million overall to help the program, to help athletics, because he's an alumni, because he loves Kansas. And I was thinking at first, I was like, okay, who does this? Who does this for a middling? Like, you think about it, because like the first picture I saw was Kansas football. I get that a good portion of this $300 million is going to go to help build the stadium and things like that. I also think that a good chunk of this is going to help Kansas basketball, which is the bread and butter when it comes to Kansas. I think of them more of a basketball school rather than a football school, but we are seeing right now that boosters are becoming the main player when it comes to recruitment moving forward. We're seeing it now with this offseason with Texas Tech. We know that one single booster is spending a ton of money. We saw it with Michigan when it comes to Bryce Underwood and flipping him to have him come to Michigan because, hey, money talks. And these kids are like, okay, well, you know what? I'm only going to go if you give me an extensive amount of money. And they're like, okay, you know what? I'll pay it. Let's do it. And so it's one of those things, like, if you're a billionaire and you went to one of these schools, yeah, why not? You're seeing it right now with BYU in basketball. They just got the number one recruit, and it's one of those things where everyone knows it's, hey, you're going to rent him for 1 year and then he's going to go off to the NBA, but they have no problem spending that money because they have a guy in Matt Ishbia who is an alumnus of BYU who just loves ball. And so it's pretty crazy to see that this is kind of the era, and now it's on full display, whereas before it was money in a McDonald's bag. Now it is just like, all right, well, you know what? Here's this towards the program. I'm gonna allocate this much specifically to helping build out projects, and yeah, I'll put my name on that. And the rest of it, you guys see fit.
Well, what's interesting to me is the fact we've seen this at bigger schools like Ohio State. Obviously, they're investing a lot of money. Michigan, they're investing a lot of money. But some of these other schools that aren't traditional football schools, or maybe haven't been good in a long time, like Texas Tech now is building out their program, and they have a donor giving a lot of money. And then you look at North Carolina potentially joining the SEC, and they're trying to build up their program. To me, it's going to be interesting to see in the NIL era for schools that just are not traditionally good at football, or that's not their main source of dominance in sports. Can money really turn it around and make them big programs in football? In football, so a team like Kansas, who, like, okay, yes, they have Jalen Daniels. They've really competed well in their conference, but they're not any team that I think top recruits are looking at. They're not any team that we're looking at to win their conference, or even nowhere close to like making the playoff. But can money really turn these programs into competitors? And I get it. It's going to help the basketball schools. You want North Carolina in the SEC for the basketball. That's good. But we know where the money's at. The money's in football. And if you're investing that much, what's the payoff going to be? Is it going to be, hey, we're competing for the conference, but this amount of money is, hey, we should be in the football playoff kind of money. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah, and I don't think that necessarily this is all, again, I don't think this is all going to football. Everyone knows that Kansas is primarily a basketball school. But I think you're 100% right. I think you do need to start looking at the lay of the land and where we're going to get true, dollars to donuts when it comes to things. And that's going to be on the football fields. Realistically, that is a main moneymaker for a lot of these schools moving forward. And so they should be allocating more of their resources to let's build out a cool football team that gets eyes on us, that gets us national notoriety. I mean, it's not even like, yes, there was an influx of money when Colorado brought in Deion Sanders, but Deion Sanders brings eyes to the program. Eyes to the program means more enrollment. More enrollment means that you can then do things like, okay, we're going to boost our attendance rate. That means more money for them. Like, all these things mean that, okay, now we are building up the infrastructure of being a top program when it comes to being in the Big 12. And it's interesting that it is the Big 12 taking these really big swings. I mean, again, the Colorado has grown already so much. The Texas Tech, huge investment this offseason. We'll see how it pays off. Now Kansas, they're doing it late in the game, but I think this is going to be for years to come moving forward what this is going to kind of show out. And it's all in the Big 12 right now. And obviously the SEC and the Big 10 already have big investors because, I mean, you're seeing kind of the deals that are going on. But it's very interesting to see these programs try to get a leg up on each other, knowing that we're all kind of at the same level. We all have the same, margin for error when it comes to our football season. And if we just get a slight edge, we can be the Big 12 champions. We can go to a playoff and we can hopefully get a home game for our school. And you know how huge that is, the revenue split, all that. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and just look at the history of Kansas right here in recent years. Past 4 years, they're getting 8 to 10 wins, which is really good. But what's, I think, a deeper look is the conference record. And this is what makes the Big 12 so exciting, is that no matter how good the team in the Big 12, they all feel like they're around the same level and any team could win at any week. So you're talking a 10-win team went 7-2, that's great. 9 wins the last 2 years, they have 6 wins and 5 wins in the Big 12 in conference play. That's not going to get it done to get into the championship game, but that's why Big 12 football is awesome. You have some good teams. Big 12 football is going to be exciting this year, and I think Kansas could contend for that number 1 spot in the Big 12.
There's like 8 teams in the Big 12 that I'm like, okay, I could close my eyes and be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, especially, I'm not just saying this year, but next year, now that they have a little bit more NIL, a little more recruiting money to play with, what can they bring in that can give them a better shot next year? But Texas Tech gonna have something to say about that, apparently.
Well, and then you look at, again, winning is cool. Like, winning is cool. So you look at Arizona State, and they have a fresh, young head coach who is just cool. They're coming off of a playoff appearance. Yeah, they had a bunch of close games last year, but they're looking to build off that. And if they have another great season, that just solidifies, okay, Kenny Dillingham can really get this job done. People are going to flock there. You look at Colorado, Deion Sanders, if he can actually do this without Shador and Travis Hunter and really build out this program and prove like, hey, you know what? If you come to Colorado, not only are you going to have the eyes on you, but realistically, we're going to back it up. I think that's going to be a program to reckon with. You have a lot of exciting developments happening in the Big 12, and I think this is a big swing to just try to get a slight edge. Even with all this money, I don't know if Kansas is going to get to be miles over. I don't think that Texas Tech is going to be miles over everyone in the conference. And they spent the money this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is talking about how Texas Tech should be up there in the rankings this season, in the overall rankings. I'm not talking Big 12, just in the country. But for me, it's a kind of, I'll see it when I believe it. I'm not trying to knock their roster or knock their recruiting efforts, but they haven't been a dominant program to where you're thinking, okay, top recruiting class, it's going to translate to the field. Let's just see a couple weeks in the season how that plays out. Kansas, I think, is going to be fun. Who? Okay, if you had to choose your pick for the, I know we're gonna do a video in this next couple days breaking down how we feel about the Big 12 going through each team. But do you have kind of a favorite you want to leak out right here that you think could win it? That's your pick.
No, I mean, honestly, again, I could close my eyes and I could legitimately give, like, okay, I could see like 5 or 6 teams winning this conference. I think that it's the margin for error in the Big 12 is so razor thin that I just don't see anyone really separating and being like, you could say a preseason favorite right now. The preseason favorite right now is probably Arizona State. Again, I would have hesitancy about that. I would be like, okay, well, looking at it, I know that they brought back a bunch of starters. I know that they brought back their quarterback. Kenny Dillingham has proven that he is a good head coach. They got stronger throughout the season, but they had a bunch of very close games last year. And when you're looking at teams from a year to year basis, that's one thing that you could look at as far as regression or even progression. If they lost a bunch of one score games, you're like, okay, maybe it's going to flip this year. They won a bunch of really close games, so I think okay, they could probably take a step back this year. So I don't know. It's so razor thin in the Big 12.
I'm trying to see where Kansas in basketball last year, 7th seed, and got knocked out in the first round against Arkansas, which a good Arkansas team, but they're not the powerhouse that they kind of once were. So maybe
They
that starts to come back.
were ranked number 1 in the nation for a good portion of the season last year, though.
Yeah,
They did
but
fall off. It was or very early on. They did fall off, but and they had some obviously losses, and they had a big hole of Hunter Dickinson was there, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
they went 21-13. They were what, third, fourth, sixth in the conference at the end of the year. It's just not going to get it done. I mean,
The Big
BYU,
12
like you
is
said,
just like you say, the Big 12 in football is so like close. The Big 12 in basketball is probably even closer, and that's one of the top 2 conferences I would say as far as like now the SEC is making a push to be a basketball conference, but the Big 12 is really fucking good.
well, you guys let us know in the comments how you feel about this deal. Do you think Kansas is on the up and up in football? Are they going to be a really dominant basketball program? Let us know, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.